First of all, what's your general reaction to the premise of the story that some unnamed political heavyweights aren't pleased with you and are trying to get someone to run against you?
I think that's the rumors that have gone around for years. Political heavyweights, as you might call them, have been for the last 17 years. So since I won my first election, they've always wanted someone else in. So it's not anything new as far as I'm concerned. It's been rumored for many, many years. And out of 9 elections, I've had opponents at 7 out of the 9. So certainly it's not a surprise, and I welcome any opponent who wants to run. I'm not running against anybody. I'm running for re-election, not for the seat. What's best for the community.
And do you wish you had handled the bond appointment differently, and why or why not?
I don't think that I would have handled it any differently. I think I wish that the public had understood a little bit more of why, of what I did. Frankly, all I did was nominate 2 gentlemen, not just Mr. Bond, but I nominated Mr. Michael Bladis as well. Those were 2 gentlemen who were interested in the position, who have been very involved in the community, who I thought each brought a unique aspect to it. Mr. Bladis has been very involved in the community for years, his whole life, has always had a special place in his heart for seniors. Mr. Bond has been very involved in the community, grew up behind me in Dragut Center, and has been involved with the parks and planning board and so forth. His position as an electrician, I thought, would bring a unique aspect to the housing authority. Here we are trying to build new housing. I thought that would be a unique way to have a tradesman there who might be able to understand more of the building aspect of it. So I nominated both gentlemen to the governor, and the governor made his decision. At no point did Mary Karabatzis come into conversation. At no point did I suggest to them they should do anything as a board member. It was just that I understood the 2 men were interested in the position. I nominated them, and we had no conversation as to what they were to do on the board or what I expected them to do, except to do a good job.
And you were equally interested in either one of those candidates,
Yes.
and it was up to it was the governor's decision.
Up to the governor.
After you gave him the names.
Right.
When was the last time you spoke with Mike McLaughlin?
I think the last time I spoke with Mike McLaughlin was probably about 1.5 years ago. I'm trying to think exactly when. We haven't had a phone conversation in I don't know how long. We'd see each other at Democratic Town Committee or events that would come about. I don't know when the last time was, but it was quite some time ago. And it had nothing to do with the Brian Bond. We never discussed Brian Bond. We never discussed, that appointment. So, the fact that people are trying to drag me into his situation is unfortunate, and it's just politics as usual.
So the last time you saw, it was probably an in-person conversation at one of those events?
Yes, I believe it was.
And it's
he's donated to my campaign in the past, as have many people in the past. He wasn't someone that I would call and ask for advice. He wasn't someone that, we'd go and meet coffee every week. I mean, he's a supporter who has, supported his state representative. He supported his state senator and others involved in the community. I have nothing to do with the Chelsea Housing Authority. I have nothing to do with his pay. I have nothing to do with his retirement. So, I think that trying to connect dots is just a way of politics getting nasty.
And with regard to his campaign contributions, they had been running at $100 in a typical year, and then I guess last year it was $400. Was there a reason for that?
I don't believe it was $400. I'd have to look, but on average, I think it's about $100. That would be what a lot of people donate to me, $100 a year. I would have a $100 fundraiser, and they would donate $100. So there's with any of my campaign contributions, there's never any quid pro quo. Unfortunately, it's the hardest part of being an elected official is having to raise money. I don't turn money away. I don't accept it with any kind of quid pro quo involved. I don't say, oh, he gave me such and such, I've got to get this done. if you look at my campaign finances, you probably see that people on different sides of the same argument have given me money. It doesn't mean that I'm bought by anybody. Certainly, he's a member of the community. He's a constituent, and he donated a sum of money. I'm not even sure what the last one was. I thought it was 300. I didn't know if it was 400 or not.
Who was your political mentor, and why did you sort of?
Well, obviously, I
that
worked
person?
for John Cox for 8 years. So I would say that John was my political mentor. He was someone who stood up for the community, stood up for the individuals in the community. I believe that in my 17 years as the state representative for Drake and Tingsboro, I've done that. I've stood up to the speaker and the leadership when it has been something that would adversely affect my community. And I have fought on a daily basis for constituents in the district or for the towns in the district on projects that they needed. I think that I have done a good job of that. I think the voters have seen that I've done a good job at that. And as I said, I've been opposed 7 out of 9 elections, and I've won each one handily. So, I think that this is, again, just, politics as usual. And the voters of Drake and Tingsboro deserve better than that.
And are there specific accomplishments you'd like to point to that would cause the voters to support you again?
Well, I think that obviously you see in Tingsboro, you see the Pawtucket Boulevard project going forward and to try to realign that intersection. The work on the Tingsboro Bridge has halted a bit on the pouring of the concrete. There is an issue with the degree or grade of the concrete. We're looking to find out where the penalty is going to be for that company not getting it approved earlier. In Drake, obviously, we've been able to save a lot of farmland. We've been able to build wonderful parks. I'm very proud of my support for the Drake High School project. I was able to come out right out in front on that, speaking at different events and speaking to the seniors on that. So I'm very, very proud of that. And then the day-to-day legislation that we pass. Recently, we passed in the House the so-called 3 strikes, you're out bill, which would go after the most violent repeat offenders. We're sick of these people getting out of prison or not being sent to prison and doing these heinous crimes like killing Officer McGuire in Woburn last year. Not almost a year ago today. So we'll be able to sentence them harder and longer for when they are a repeat violent offender. So those are some of the issues I've enjoyed working on. I've enjoyed working with the seniors. I've enjoyed working with the veterans. Obviously, I've enjoyed working with children. My nieces are out back waiting for me. And I think the school project and the parks that we've been able to build, the new park that was dedicated to the 2 firemen, Dylan and McAnespie, that was with CPA money, that the legislature has continued to keep that CPA money dedicated to our communities. And all the while being able to make sure that in these tough economic times that we didn't automatically go to raise taxes. We're putting more money in a rainy day fund. We're cutting back in state government. And I think that that's what the people in my district want in a legislator. They want a conservative Democrat. They want someone who may buck the party, may buck the leadership, because it's right for them. Being on the border is another issue that I've been fighting for the businesses in the community. And we're hoping that my bill to allow alcohol sale on the day after Christmas will pass because of an old blue law that says if Christmas is on a Sunday, you can't have alcohol sale on Monday. From what I understand is, there's a lot of brunches that week, and this would not allow someone to have a cocktail at a brunch before noontime on that Monday. So certainly we want to make sure that we are on the same level footing as New Hampshire and Connecticut and some of the others. So I think that I look at all of the aspects of our communities of Drake and Tingsboro, all of the needs of the communities, all of the needs of the constituents, and I have been their conservative state representative for 17 years, and I think that my record proves that.
Okay, and maybe this is something you've already mentioned, but what would be your top priorities of what to accomplish in your next term, whether local or a statewide type issue?
I think, first of all, I want to see that bridge done, completed. I want to drive over the old Tingsboro Bridge, and I want to continue on with the second permanent bridge that is still in the works. I want to be able to make sure that as the economy gets better, that we fund money back into the school systems that have had cuts back. I want to make sure that we get more elderly housing. When Joe Tully was was director of the Council on Aging, we had met with him, and there was some land on Lakeview Avenue that we were going to build some units there, and somehow that got lost in the mix. And I hope that we can go forward and get some state housing, elderly housing there on Lakeview Avenue, in any other location. It's very difficult in my position to want to do these things, but I have to keep my distance on some of it. I don't go in and try to pretend I'm a selectman and tell the selectmen what to do, just as I wouldn't go to the Council on Aging and tell them what to do, or the Board of Health, Board of Housing or Health, or any of those, and tell them what to do. I have to react to what the community wants, but I like to offer suggestions as well.